Hello, and welcome again to the Nerds and Nonsense podcast. Returning from my health issues, I am your host, Jonathan. With me is Randy, Kumar, and Adam. Today we are going to be discussing childhood cartoons from our days. You know, the things that we liked, maybe things that you like to, maybe compare to how things are today. And Adam, you want to start us off with what you liked as cartoons as a kid?
Yeah, I think this is an obvious pick for me, so I'm going to go with the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Was there any other choice?
Yeah, everyone's favorite.
Yeah, I think you stole mine. That's good.
Yeah, so I mean that one is just iconic because the show was good. It was. I mean, you go back and watch it, and it's kind of corny, like most cartoons are. But I mean, it started one of the most popular toy lines of all time. Still going today with NECA, and then they've made countless other like spin-offs and cartoons
and they have a porno too.
Yeah, they do.
What?
They do.
Really?
10-inch Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Honestly?
Yeah,
Jonathan would watch, of course.
I have to look that up.
I had to watch
verify
it.
your research.
I had to watch it.
Kamar has to verify your source.
I'm a researcher. I have to verify these things. Wow, that grows me up. It's crazy.
Starring Michelangelo.
Yeah. He mentions it all the time.
I think it was Michelangelo.
Oh gosh!
Load is
wow.
better. But no, okay. So let's get back. So 1980. Let's get back
to other cool stuff.
Enough of the green dicks.
Yeah.
Ninja Turtles. Definitely my favorite. I mean, I still watch it on occasion. Like I'll try to rewatch the whole series, and then forget where I am because there's so many seasons, and then just kind of restart it. But so yeah, that's my favorite one. I think a sleeper one for me that I enjoyed as a kid that not a lot of people watched is Brave Star.
Oh, I remember Brave Star.
Remember Brave Star?
I know of it. I never watched it. So
Yeah, so he was like a Native American sheriff or deputy
on another planet.
Another planet. It's like kind of futuristic and
Cowboys kind of right wearing hats and stuff.
Yeah.
Look, I know. I saw the intro. I saw the intro.
When did that come out?
80s, 90s.
Yeah, like probably 80s.
It was late 80s. It was sometime in the 80s.
In the 80s. Okay.
I just remember watching that cartoon, and then I don't know if it's racist or what, but he would put his ear to the ground and hear motherfuckers coming from miles away and shit. Like he's got those Indian powers, you know what I mean? And I remember I had a duffel bag when I was in kindergarten, and I actually found it when I went back to Ohio a couple years back, and it's I'd still use it if it wasn't such a flimsy piece of shit. So Ninja Turtles for me, definitely my favorite, and then Brave Star is the sleeper.
Wow.
Who's up?
Come on.
Well, I guess for me, I'm super typical. X-Men was definitely my favorite. I think everything is my best Saturday mornings, Fox Kids, Channel 6, X-Men. I had my schedule set for that. They had a primetime one where they had the Morlock tunnels, and that was awesome. I was like, hey, Mom, Dad, they have X-Men at 8 o'clock on a Friday night. And they had Lady Deathstrike. That was amazing.
The artwork is great too.
Just especially for that episode.
Yes.
So X-Men was definitely my favorite mainstream one that most people know. But I think my biggest sleeper one, is Pirates of Dark Water, which was a Hanna-Barbera one that you can catch on Saturday mornings until that company folded. And it was such a fantastic sort of atmosphere. You had this character who had to find treasures to recreate his world and free his people, and then you had ecomancers who could do enchantments with the environment and use magic, and you had these things called monkey birds that would fly around and eat melons out the trees. It was great. And he had this pirate who was trying to compete with them and catch them before they get all the treasures. It was a pretty good one. It was sad when it ended. A lot of people don't know it.
I don't recall that one.
I heard of it. I
Pirates
remember
of Dark Water.
It was one of those Fox cartoons that was on in the afternoon.
I'd probably recognize it if I saw it.
I don't think so.
It was limited.
Didn't the guy blonde hair and a broken sword, kind of like a smaller sword, right? Yeah, he had a small,
Yeah, he totally looked like a kid who fell out of a J-pop sort of advertisement. He had like the kids you hang out, the oyster kids, like the Asian kids, you have the tans and like the blonde hair and like the blue contacts. He looked exactly like that. It was great. I thought he was such a cool character.
He was 25 years too early for.
So K-pop before K-pop was K-pop, right?
Or which was J-pop.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha.
You know, I was like, this looks like he's from like a Yumi Hamasaki video. It's rad stuff.
John.
My favorite as a kid, He-Man. He-Man.
Oh, yeah.
You can't beat He-Man. It's. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but it's like just going back and watching it nowadays. I mean, it does feel kind of corny because I mean, it is early mid '80s cartoons, but
it's ahead of its time.
But it was one of those things where it's like if you had something that was sword-like, you knew you were going to hold it up and you were going to say, "I have the power" and all that stuff.
Yeah.
It was like so awesome.
Yeah. He was kind of the first like villain that was like jacked, but with like a huge pussy.
You loved Skeletor as much as you loved He-Man.
Yeah.
Just because how funny he was with that goddamn voice.
Yeah. That show's iconic. There's still like a bunch of memes, on the internet. Like
all the crazy characters.
Like Skeletor saying stuff.
Mossman.
I think it's more like it was action too, but it was but then like it was more comedic at the same pace too, like action comedic. I watched it like for me it's like I love He-Man too, but I watched like man it's kind of corny and I don't really hold it up as well. But maybe I need to watch a couple more episodes. But I did love He-Man.
I think I watched a documentary on it, and they said it was one of those cartoons that was made just to make action figures.
Yeah.
It was like basically to make money for toys.
Toys that made us.
Yeah.
So what's your?
My sleeper, I'm gonna say Real Ghostbusters. Which I mean, I'm sure a lot of kids watched it back in those days, but it's like, I mean, it wasn't as known as the movies were for Ghostbusters.
It's like a USA cartoon or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
USA Network.
Yeah. Randy.
I had one in my mind, but I'm probably gonna change it now because. It still holds up to this time. So Batman the Animated Series.
Oh,
that one was really good.
Yeah, that was.
So now, like it aged so well. I mean, it's like from the art style to the storytelling, just to the voice acting, especially like Kevin Conroy. Come on, it's like his voice acting superb. Still can do the voice acting to this day. And then progressed on to the new Batman animated series. With Superman, Justice League, all kinds of things. So it was just great for its time. And I don't think anything besides like X-Men the animated series was just as good.
Definitely top 3 right there. That's,
definitely.
If not number, it's definitely number 1.
Sometimes you can judge cartoons based on like which iteration it is. It's like that version of X-Men was awesome. That version of Batman was awesome.
Yeah,
it's like then they bring in like these. They try
X-Men Unlimited,
switch it up, or Batman Beyond and all that stuff, or stuff like that.
Beyond was pretty damn good.
I didn't. It wasn't as good as the animated series.
It was not as.
Beyond was good too. I like Beyond.
I thought it tied in smoothly, but I think it wasn't as adventurous.
I think I know what you're talking about. Like, so it's like X-Men Evolution that was on WB.
Oh, yeah.
It was the Batman. It was like the ones like the bar was set too high. I mean, like you couldn't. It's just they could just go underneath the bar. They couldn't go over the bar because it was just already set. So. My sleeper would be, I don't know if a lot of people know, it's a anime show called Cops.
I remember Cops.
It was an anime show, and then the cops were like, I had all kinds of things, like the commissioner or chief, he was like a black guy, and his name was Bulletproof, and he opened up his chest, and he could shoot, he's bulletproof pretty much, and there's a guy who shoots a long handcuff out, a guy with a big rocket.
What?
It's like, there's a theme song that's like, dun, 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 dun. I'm like, oh my god.
Cops was awesome. I remember
it was
that.
and then it was Cops, and of course Crooks, so it was like you gotta look up these theme songs. I know what we're all gonna do when we get off our phones. Look at these theme songs of these songs and just like remember, remake these, so.
Well, that explains the whole criminal justice thing, then.
I guess so, right? Like I want to be bulletproof and I want a big hand. That's totally false.
Oh, funny.
But
I missed that one.
Yeah, so it's like that was a good thing about being an 80s, 90s kid. There was so much to choose from.
Much.
I mean, Silverhawks, Voltron. Oh man, like even I love Garfield and Friends.
Oh, I miss Garfield and Friends.
I love the Snorks.
Snorks.
Every Disney cartoon, like those theme songs remind me.
The Gummy Bears when they drink the juice.
Yes, Gummy
God.
Bears.
Gummy Bears.
On Saturday morning, Gummy Bears.
Oh man, it was just, Thundercats. Oh my god.
I was never into Thundercats.
I love.
I even like like Animaniacs or Darkwing Duck.
Animaniacs was
Darkwing
great.
Duck was really good.
The mature humor in Animaniacs was something
Like
else.
Tailspin.
Tailspin.
Ren and Stimpy.
Ren and
Nicktoons,
Stimpy. That's a classic.
Rugrats, Hey
Rugrats,
Arnold.
yeah.
I'm like, dude, it goes on and on.
I actually-
Rocko's Modern Life.
I sat on Paramount the other night and watched like 3 seasons of Doug.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed Doug.
No.
They had a great episode.
Nickelodeon Doug, not ABC.
Yeah. Nickelodeon.
Not
Like,
ABC
when he
Yeah.
first moved to Bluffington, and
Yeah.
he falls in love with Patty, and he's
Yeah.
hanging out with Skeeter.
That name didn't age well.
I know, right?
It's-
you look at it
it's-
now, right?
You think of it now,
Yeah.
it's not really a name they can say on TV
Yeah.
anymore. Your best friend Skeeter.
Cancel culture. Edit his name.
Cancel culture is they're gonna go after Doug next.
Yeah.
Just a variety. If you want action, you go to this channel. If you want comedy, you go to this channel. If you want
Yeah.
neutral, like you go to this one.
Yeah.
Like, man, it's you had your pick of the litter. I mean, it's like it was just great, and just watching that now just brings back a lot of memories.
Especially the original ones that were on Cartoon Network. That changed everything.
Yeah. So
That changed the face of everything.
There's one. I mean, it's not
Johnny
really
Bravo.
like the Saturday morning cartoons like we're talking about, but The Simpsons is like
Oh yeah.
one of the best cartoons of all time.
You've grown up with it. It's like been there most of your life.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't really watched in the last, I would say, 15 years.
But it's one of those things. It's almost like it's like a relative that you haven't really visited in a while, and it's like if they canceled it, you would be upset about it.
Yeah.
You're like, man, I wasn't there for those last few weeks.
Yeah, the first 10 seasons, you can't fuck with it. Like, they used to play episodes like at 5 and 5:30 every day.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
and they would just kind of replay like older stuff, and
Yeah.
I can watch it today and just like, oh my god, it's 1994 again. You know what I mean?
I think the best thing were like the Halloween specials. That was.
Oh yeah.
Oh, the Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think Futurama definitely kind of took up the slack of that. That really picked up when like it started getting a little predictable.
South Park was great when it started. I mean, it's gotten more political in its time.
Yeah. Its sweet spot was when they did the Muhammad joke, I think.
I think the thing with South Park is that they'll always have material because of everything that's going on, right?
They do more current event things than anything.
But it's kind of just random and
Yeah.
it's out there, it's funny, but sometimes it's just really random, So.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't get it till like you have to piece the puzzle together to like, they're basically going off of like COVID, or they're going off of this, or they're going off of that.
You just read what the trend is. It's a bit predictable now as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I don't
sometimes
think
you go back
they-
and watch old episodes, and you're like, I can't remember what this situation was or whatever. Like, but
Yeah.
there's some iconic ones that are forever.
Yeah.
So with the cartoon stuff we mentioned as a kid, what do you think about today's demographic with the cartoons and stuff that they have, for, the youth? Like, what do you think about it? Have you seen any of those shows? Have anything been mentioned to you? Does anything stick out to you? Like, hey, that's good or that's really bad?
No, I mean, I watched some of the stuff. Like, I have a niece and some nephews and, my son. But, like, a lot of the stuff now is, like, that, the computer animation stuff, which
Oh, yeah.
I like Toy Story and some movies like that, like Up or whatever. But, like, every fucking movie and every TV show using that same computer animation, I don't know. It's not like that's easy to do. But there's something about drawing that like interests me and how it's all put together, and it seems like there's more soul to it. So some of the stuff nowadays is just like super fucking corny. Like I don't know. I don't watch it. Hopefully my son watches like cool stuff. We have him watching. We'll put it on Boomerang and then play old like Bugs Bunny, Looney Tune type stuff, like 50s, 60s. Like some of the stuff like isn't acceptable nowadays, but it's like we're all fine. I never killed anybody and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Dropped an anvil on anybody.
My uncle wouldn't let my cousins watch Looney Tunes because he said they were too violent.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. It's funny because I think because we grew up with those really historic cartoons, we have like a more mature taste when we got
Well,
older.
No,
so-
I just always wondered, where is this Acme company that I
know,
can get all
right?
these weapons from?
But the funny thing is, you find out like there's a lot of companies out there actually named Acme. I'm like, what? This is for real? So, but you know,
Is this where I get anvils and
right?
Dynamite.
But
stuff to blow up a
we
roadrunner?
had like Woody Woodpecker, and like we had like what was the Hanna-Barbera one where they're all in a race, and like Yogi Bear. Like,
Oh,
we had
I
all
remember
these different ones, and then I think our tastes got better. We had traditional art that was amazing, like really great drawn. Even Gumby was like really artfully done, although it's kind of disturbing when you look at it now.
Yeah.
But then like when we did have computer graphics, it was like Transformers or like was it Beast Machines was one.
Beast Wars, I think.
Beast Wars, and then like Reboot was really freaking cool and like high tech. But I think now it's just since everything's just by default done in computer graphics, it's kind of it's predictable and kind of boring for us at least.
And they like to do like remakes of cartoons from like our time. It's like, why not just replay the originals because those were so great anyway.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
like,
they do that because like, guess what? We're out of ideas, so let's remake something like.
that's
These
the
turtles
thing,
or
though, is
something,
you
like-
gotta be original.
Yeah.
You can't just keep copying the same thing over and over.
Yeah.
Well, I think that the issue too is that you know, cancel culture. People are offended by this. You know,
Yeah.
stuff that we watched back in the day. People could probably be easily offended.
Right.
You can't use that person's skin color different, or the wording they say is bad, or they have a sword and they can't use a sword or a gun, or something in the TV show.
If they did the original Power Rangers right now, they'd be canceled in like 2 weeks because of the color coordination. It's like, wait, the Asian is in yellow and the black is in black.
But the funny thing is like some of the originals for the imported series, like the context was so totally different. Like even like Sailor Moon, like they showed that back then, but like now you can really like it's too much. Like having like maybe they could because you had like two girls at a girls' school who are like girlfriends, But
or
the funny
LGBTQ kind of related, but
like Japanese culture is just naturally more inclusive, I guess. But I think what I found is a lot of the new ones you see on Netflix are like a lot more progressive and I think they're pretty interesting. I think if I was a kid growing up with some of the stuff on Netflix. Like they have some pretty good original stuff. Like Bob's Burgers is a new one, and that's a lot of fun. But I think you really have to search cable and for like the good new series. But they're not for kids necessarily.
I think anime has taken the big step with a lot of things. You got Attack on Titan. What is it? Seven Deadly Sins. Like I don't know a lot about anime, but I know it's big. Dragon Ball Z's come back. So it's good to have those. Like people go to
My
anime.
Hero Academia is
Yeah,
another
exactly.
one. One Piece.
Yeah, it just evolved like that, and I may not follow anime, but I do have a respect for it because they can do their own thing, and they have a general audience for it. Because it's not on like basic TV. You have to go to Crunchyroll or online to watch it, and then people watch that and they get more into it. Oh, I can't watch regular cartoons because anime is bad right now.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like America, we lost our animation, and then Japan took up that footprint. And like the original stuff is like made for adults. It's on Netflix, and then like the kids don't get like any American animation anymore.
Although I've seen anime where it's like mostly just giant boobs, and it's like, wait, why? Why is this?
I think you're watching a
Do
different
people
anime.
like? No, I was hanging out with like a couple of my friends, and we went over to my buddy's house, and he turns this on. I'm like, he probably jerks off to this when nobody's around.
Jonathan's here. No.
Yeah, there's one.
Hey, dude,
series
if
on
you want to
Netflix.
masturbate, I can leave.
There's this one series on Netflix about this gambling high school, and it's like so adult. I was like, this is not for kids. Like, this is totally not for kids.
I think it's television for kids now has been resorted to kids playing live, real kids playing with toys and doing animation things like that. My daughter eats that stuff up, and I watch it. Like, there's no creativity to it all. I'm sorry. It's just like I would find it boring. When it's like it appeals to the kids. I guess a lot of people eat it up and stuff. But when I watch it, I would never be watching this stuff if I was a kid. It just seems so uncreative. And all you have to do is get some camera and special effects and show your kids playing, and boom, you got some. So.
I feel like 80s, 90s grew us up faster.
I think a lot of the stuff nowadays is catered towards like distracting your child so that like the parent can go finger fuck their own phone or do dishes or whatever they're doing. Like
It's a babysitter.
It's a
yeah,
babysitter.
pretty much. Like you're not actually, diving into any kind of story from what I've seen or anything. It's just like, ooh, look at this shiny thing, and then you're over there doing whatever. It's just like,
Yeah, I remember like when they had like cliffhangers on cartoons and stuff like that. You'd be like, oh god, I can't wait till next week to see what happens.
It was
Stuff like
literature. It was literature back then.
Yeah.
I remember that one summer where it was like, who killed Mr. Burns?
Oh,
And everyone
yeah.
was
Shot
like,
Mr. Burns.
or, yeah, who shot Mr. Burns? Sorry,
Yeah, shot Mr. Burns. Yeah.
And then the whole summer, everyone was like kind of speculating on who it was.
was it
and,
Smithers or
yeah.
was
I
it the
think-
baby?
We were all trying to figure out. It turns out it's Maggie.
Yeah, Maggie. Yeah. Oh, gosh, that was a great one.
And a couple ones that we didn't mention that I think we should. Scooby Doo, like the original Scooby Doo's, were.
But not with Scrappy Doo. Scrappy Doo was the most annoying character
My
ever.
favorite one was like the Young Adventures of Scooby Doo. That one was.
Oh yeah, when they were all younger.
Yeah, I got a kick out of that.
And then like Fred always blamed everything on Red Herring,
Yeah.
and it was never him.
I like the old school ones because like, fucking Scooby and Shaggy were always like fucked up and high, for sure.
Always.
And then like
It was dark humor that we didn't understand. At the
Yeah, that was
time.
the adult humor like throughout
Yeah.
all of it.
Whoever like they that was the bad guy in the episode, it was someone that like was kind of close to them or like whatever was going on. It just kind of showed you like the people that are gonna do you wrong the most are the people closest to
Like,
you.
hey, it's the owner of the amusement park who's trying to get more people to come to the park. Like,
And then Beavis and Butthead.
Oh, that was one of the
Beavis and
greatest.
There was a point where I wasn't allowed to watch Beavis and Butthead, but I did anyway.
I think my parents were
I think
worried about
most
me
of
doing that. I said, you're gonna be stupid by doing that. So.
Yeah.
Well, me it was more everything sucks because on their, according to them, everything did suck.
Yeah. But they kind of gave you like some of the best metal videos
They
to look at.
they had to have pissed off so many bands with that "This sucks, change it."
Oh yeah. Yeah,
like making fun of like just like they'd show them like mocking it like this like they'd be like, yeah, all right, change it. No.
I think the cool thing about when we were kids and our cartoons we had too is they had cool toys too. Like you'd go Toys R Us and KB Toys, Playco, the department store, and I saw it on TV, and that's the kind of toy you wanted, right? But now if you go down to the toy house, kind of like it's pretty much the same kind of toys that you had back then. You had your He-Man, G.I. Joes, all that stuff. There's nothing really.
They have like newfangled ones, but it's like
less novelty thing.
They try to make the old school stuff.
Yeah.
Like I saw they're putting Star Wars figures in like the Kenner things like they used to.
Yeah, like retro.
Yeah, they're retroizing everything because
Yeah.
I think that's more for us though.
They got
for
boring
our
after a
age.
while. It was McFarlane who really revolutionized and made these sculpture-like figures that like really made you want to go out and buy figures again. I remember like you could buy the Akira one. He did like the Yellow Submarine series. He had like all the slasher movies. It was pretty cool. So, but I think one of the funniest things, I watched a documentary on YouTube that talked about when cartoons first came out. They were for like adults. It was like mature stuff. Like Betty Boop was like it was like for like people who were like grown adults with like adult themes and jokes. It wasn't for kids.
Yeah.
So it's the idea of cartoons for kids is like pretty new.
Didn't they make a cartoon where they had a character that, what was it? Drawn together.
Oh, that was one of my favorites.
They had a character who was a mock of her, but she would cut herself.
Yeah, she had like
She was
the
like overweight, and
scorific
she would take a razor blade to her
and, like,
to her calves
psychiatric problems. Oh gosh,
or
that
to
was all
her
over the
to her
place.
thighs. Like
Yeah, the Yling Ling, which was like a parody for Pikachu.
they had Captain Hero.
He was like a
He was like a Superman knockoff.
yeah, and then they had like a
It was like
knockoff.
Link. He was but he was gay.
Yeah.
He was trying to save the princess, but he's gay.
And then the princess had like a monster in her muff.
Oh yeah, the princess with her octopus pussy.
That's so weird.
I wonder why that show didn't last very long.
Yeah.
That show was great.
That's definitely a sleeper hit though. Yeah.
It was funny.
It has a
but
cult
it's-
following, I think.
Yeah.
One of the ones I think would be great if they had the original animation, but it was like super fucking dark, would be Captain Planet.
Oh yeah.
I think that would be a
Have
great
you
one.
seen the Captain Planet? There's like videos with Don Cheadle where he's Captain Planet
Oh,
and he's turning
some
everyone
of
into
those.
trees.
Yeah.
He's just like pissed off at people. He's like,
Yeah.
he just goes in and like shit talks them and then turns them into a tree.
We have to mention Rick and Morty. Rick and Morty is like one of the greatest ones right now.
It is.
They had a parody with Captain Planet where they had a female Captain Planet. Then she snaps and like gets angry at the planet. It's pretty crazy.
The problem with the
Morty
Captain
breaks
Planet,
her heart.
Captain Planet is, I think it was just more of a message than anything. Like it's
Right.
like the villains were kind of lackluster, and then all you had to do is throw pollution on the guy, and he was down down for the count. I mean, that's pretty weak. Like that was pretty lame. Like you use all these power to bring him up, and all he does is just like clean up, and you don't see him throw a single punch. Like, I thought it was pretty lame. So.
This is such a great premise, though.
There was I think it was on SNL, one cartoon that was called The Ambiguously Gay Duo.
That was a great one.
Fucking hilarious. I don't know if that would like fly today.
It wouldn't.
It probably would
should.
not.
It should.
Yeah.
But it probably wouldn't.
Well, since they
It was
want
Saturday
to,
TV Funhouse, right?
they're trying to incorporate so much LGBTQ, all that, into like television, cartoons for kids nowadays.
Yeah. There was one that I watched called Dead End, which is this cartoon about two kids who they get a summer job and like one tries to run away from home because he's not accepted as home for his identity. But it's actually it's a really great story that's really interesting. But I think the thing is, when it comes to LGBTQ, there's this idea like queerness is like the acceptance of not trying to meet normalcy. So now you kind of get these weird characters that like Skeeter, but everyone's like, but that's the point to have him being a weird character. So it can be a little bit more fun in the
I
right.
wonder if Skeeter turned out gay in Doug's story. Because I know Doug doesn't end up with Patty.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is sad.
Oh, it's life. So like
Patty seemed more like a lesbian anyway, don't you think? I mean, she played sports and all that other stuff, so.
Yeah. But I'm sure they were afraid to write
this
that.
is my
in.
girlfriend.
I don't know. She could have been straight. Her last
And
name was
then-
mayonnaise, or she likes some mayonnaise.
And then Doug's like,
Skeeter.
I'm gonna get this
Oh
through.
gosh. Now Rocco's Modern Life was about that all the way. Every character was sideways in Rocco's Modern Life.
The big heads.
The big heads. Oh gosh.
We could be here all day talking about this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, another sleeper from when I was young that I liked, Muppet Babies.
Oh, that was a great one. Yeah. That's because they pop up in they have different movies within the show that they pop up in, right? That was hilarious.
Yeah, Muppet Babies was great.
Nickelodeon had everything. You remember what is it? David the Gnome, Maya the Bee.
yeah.
David the Gnome was awesome.
Yeah, that
Eureka's
was a huge
Castle.
adventure. They had to
Yeah,
escape from cats.
Eureka's Castle I loved.
Yeah, I enjoyed
It's
that.
like a
one.
puppeteer type
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, almost like a Mr. Rogers almost.
Just leave on that channel. Like, if they made a channel that had all the stuff that we watched back in the 80s, I would pay for that channel. Just for that channel.
Boomerang is kind of like that.
Well,
But,
yes,
yeah.
there's
They leave
limits
some
to what
things
it
out,
is,
dude,
but
a lot
so
of
the-
I just want a time machine. I just want to go back to the 80s. I don't want to stay here anymore.
Yeah, just need to break into a TV station.
Yeah, I remember being sick back in the day, staying home from school, and it was like you had to watch all these cartoons, and then 10 o'clock was Price is Right. I don't
With
know
Bob
why.
Barker,
Yeah,
but it's
Bob
not the
Barker.
same with Drew Carey.
Yeah.
Fucking frog.
I got a question. What are the cartoons you hated the most? I'll get it started. When they had ones like MC Hammer or like New Kids on the Block, I hated the music cartoons.
Those are kind of
Oh,
corny.
They did have it was like just a fad cartoon that it was like they're trying to capitalize on something that was big at the time.
What was that one? It was like Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Bo Jackson.
Can't remember.
Goodness.
And then they had like the wrestling.
Yeah, it was a wrestling Hulk Hogan one too. I remember that.
Yeah.
There was a, I know, I could only think of this one, but I didn't like Life with Louie. I thought it was kind of annoying.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's like
I think I
I
just
didn't
watched
like
it because
Life
it
with
was
Louie.
on.
Bobby's World was
That
great.
That was a great one. Oh,
Bobby's
yeah.
World
No, we're
was.
talking about ones we
I
didn't
know,
like.
but as soon as you mentioned Life with Louie, I just
Yeah.
saw Bobby, and I was like, oh my god, how can we forget about Bobby's World?
Yeah.
Don't you know?
Don't you know? Yeah, Life with Louie. Well, I watched Life with Louie just
What
because
is
it
that,
was
Louis
on.
Anderson?
It was
Louis
it was
Anderson.
Louis Anderson
Yeah.
as a little kid.
Yeah,
He looked like
yeah.
a pig.
Oh wait, we can't forget this one. Great, The Critic.
The critic.
Oh, Critic's good,
Oh,
yeah.
but that was a
It
good one.
stinks.
That's a good one.
It's-
That's what I'm
stinks.
saying. We can't forget to mention.
There's so many good ones. Like it's
I didn't hate a whole lot. If I hated it, I just didn't watch it because there was so much to
Yeah.
pick from. It was just like, see ya.
Like a filler show between like an action show, comedy, something, and an action show that I watch. So like maybe one of them, I don't say I hated, but I didn't really pay attention. Was the Eat the Cat.
I didn't
like that one.
Yeah, it was kind of weird. It was like
Yeah.
he was terrified of everything. He had a huge fat girlfriend, and it was kind of weird.
It was like a bad version of Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yeah, but that came out before that one. So.
Right.
But yeah, it was kind of weird. So
Yeah,
I
I didn't like that at all.
I wouldn't say I hated it, but I didn't watch The Tick. I don't know.
I never really.
The Tick was
cared for it
boring.
either.
It was boring. It was interesting because it was a comic book one, but it was really slow.
I think he was like too sarcastic, and
Yeah.
the villains were kind of slow and crap. Yeah, it was kind of like I didn't really feel.
It's definitely
much
written for like adults of
Yeah,
like
I
the
didn't-
Seinfeld generation.
I used to have to sit
Yeah.
through Tiny Toon Adventures
Oh,
and
yeah.
Animaniacs because those were the shows that led into Power Rangers in the afternoon.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you in the way of the show I want to watch?
Yeah,
But
this shows
those
that
are
you would
okay.
sit
Those- I
through.
like those.
I got
They were half decent, but it's like
Yeah.
when you're waiting, it's like when you go to see like a show. It's like you're going to see a band, and you want to see the band that you're there to see.
Yeah.
But then they have like 3 or 4 shitty opening bands,
Yeah.
and you're like, get these people off the stage
Yeah.
so I can see who I want to see.
Marvel had quite a few of those because I really liked X-Men. Spider-Man was all right, but then like Fantastic
I did
Four and like Iron Man were like so bad.
Hulk too. Yeah.
You just watched them because they were on.
The '90s Spider-Man on Fox was really good.
It was pretty good. Yeah, that was pretty good.
What
Yeah.
about Smurfs? Did you guys watch that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
as a
I
little
did,
kid,
but then like I
as a
didn't
little
like the whole
kid.
obsession about Gargamel trying to catch them and eat them. I'm like, what's
Yeah.
like? Do you know what they taste like? Why would you just want to capture something you don't know and then eat them? What if you get food poisoning and you
Yeah.
die or something? You know?
That's such an odd one. I think you know what, Darkwing Duck was a little boring.
I
Yeah.
like Darkwing
Yeah, I
Duck.
like that one.
It was okay.
Like a lot of
What,
people liked it, but it was definitely
um,
wasn't like Rescue Rangers.
I love DuckTales.
DuckTales was a lot of fun.
Oh, Bonkers, the cat.
Didn't like Bonkers.
I didn't really like that one.
Bonkers.
There was like a cat that was like
Yeah, he
it was
was-
like a tiger cat. It was like some kind of like
Yeah, that was
cheetah or something.
that was
It was like a
forgettable.
bobcat or
Yeah, that was
It's a
something.
very
bobcat.
forgettable.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
you don't even know what it is. You know.
Yeah,
So,
that was very forgettable.
so not everything Disney made at the time was like gold. You know. So
Yeah, when you make 230 cartoons, you know, you're gonna have some misses.
Yeah.
Goof Troop. Oh, love that show. There's
Goof
when
Troop-
Was that-
Goofy had a kid.
Yeah, that's a movie, right?
No, it was a TV show.
There was a movie.
Oh, they did a TV
They
show
made a
too?
movie too.
Yeah. So.
Okay.
The movie was when he was trying to go to the concert,
Yeah.
and
Remember that one?
Oh yeah, yeah.
he was stuck on a trip with his dad. And
Goofy
Yeah,
movie,
it's
right?
dead, so. Yeah, I think that we actually liked a lot more stuff than we.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say hate. It just shows maybe we didn't, watch.
But over time, it's like you miss. Even if you didn't really like it at the time, you miss that time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one thing is like having like really growing up with good quality American cartoons. There is a method to it, and I think getting into anime is a very Japanese method. Like there's some things that are great, but then like we get to have this episodic experience where there's a beginning and there's an end in one adventure, and then you get like a new adventure the next episode. Whereas like a lot of Japanese anime, it's like this long one. You have to watch all these things that have references to this episode before, and it's just.
But it's like a
as
reset
fun.
after every episode. But
Yeah.
South Park's reached the point where they're doing the full seasons of like a single story, and
Yeah,
it's
Princess Kenny, Game of Thrones.
I like the random shit on there better than that. And
yeah,
same with Family Guy. Like when they're just doing random shit, it's funny.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't need a huge story arc for everything.
Yeah.
Remember when South Park mocked Family Guys, like just where they would just pull out a random thing and say it?
Yeah.
It's like, but that's what makes it funny.
Yeah.
Any last thoughts you guys might have about anything?
No. not
Yeah,
really.
I think the cartoons need to come back, like all of them. Like, okay, just replay every cartoon from 1980 to 1997.
Yeah.
Just run those through again and put them on instead of all this stuff that they're putting out today, and I will be happy.
Yeah.
Oh, what you need to do.
These are my
first-
demands. Wait, I don't have any hostages.
What you first need to do is go to our YouTube page and like and subscribe,
Yeah.
and then you can also search for like 80s cartoon themes, and you're gonna see like hours worth of introductions, just 30 seconds or a minute for each show, and if you're kind of in your mid to late 30s or 40s, you're gonna go back in time and remember all the stuff that
Yeah.
you forgot.
Yeah, I'm thinking of all these things like Inspector Gadget and Heathcliff.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
there's so many that we're
Yeah.
gonna
In
be
the
like,
car that would turn into a
Yeah.
van.
Yeah, I think the key thing these days is that you need to give kids their cartoons back. Create Saturday mornings again, but like I honestly think you can just have all these kids are turning out to be robots because they don't have any imagination.
So
or
they just do
childhoods
remakes.
anymore. Yeah. So
So yeah, I guess that concludes this episode of Nerds and Nonsense. So, like Adam said, go to our YouTube channel, like and subscribe. Do the same thing on our Facebook page. And we'll see you next time here on Nerds and Nonsense.
Let us know what your favorite 80s, 90s cartoons or cartoons overall in general.
Yeah. Leave it in the comments on our YouTube and our Facebook.
And if you disagree with us, you're wrong.
You're wrong. All right.
See you guys.
See you guys.